Tony Massenburg, covers the Wizards for CSN. So after the first two games, it looked like this series was going to be an easy one for the Wizards. Is that what you thought? Because it clearly turned in Atlanta, and obviously the Wizards are in a good spot now, being up 3-2. But what are your thoughts on how the series started and how it's progressed?
Well, I never thought that this series was going to be a sweep or easy. I actually predicted from the outset, my prediction was 6 games, and that was because I thought that Atlanta would play much better in Atlanta. And when you look at the Wizards over the course of the season, they played exceptionally well at home, and not the road got better going down the stretch. And you knew those first 2 games at home, you know the Wizards should have taken care of their business. The question was how would their game travel? And the answer was that, it didn't travel very well in game 3 and 4. And so you saw them get back home last night. You saw John Wall and Bradley Beal get some help from the role players, guys off the bench. Otto Porter had 17 points last night. We hadn't seen him have a good game in a while. And when you get a little bit of production like you did from Markieff Morris in game 1, his ability to score inside and outside really balances things off for the Wizards and enables John to do a lot more from the perimeter, because when they have somebody inside, that keeps the perimeter players honest, and it keeps the defense space because they've got to respect what's going on the inside. So you get that going, and when they're defending the way they're supposed to play, defending in the right way, they can get out and run, turn people over, and that's also a huge part of their game is transition.
I think there were a couple of adjustments yesterday, which we talked about. It looked like they threw some double teams at Millsap from time to time. And I also saw Bogdanovich playing some more 4. Now, it kind of depends whether Jason Smith is in the lineup, too, because sometimes when they're playing together, Bogdanovich's playing the 3. But I like when he plays the 4.
Yeah, I like when he plays the 4, depending on who the power forward is. And again, when he's in against the other team's bench, a lot of times, in my opinion, the Wizards have an advantage. The one thing that's been mentioned with Bogdanovich is his shot coming off the bench. In my opinion, he is the most capable offensive threat off the bench, and the problem has been a little bit of lack of consistency. But he's played better the last 2 games. He's also a huge part of what the Wizards do because, again, being their best bench scorer or the best shooter off the bench, it's important that he comes in and provides that spark. You see Brandon Jennings brings a lot of energy and is taking on that role as the assist guy. You see Kelly Oubre playing with a lot of energy and defensively being disruptive. So these are the type of things that you need off the bench in conjunction with some scoring from the front line, either by way of Marcin Gortat, Markieff Morris, or Otto Porter, like we saw with him last night.
Joined by Tony Massenburg, Wizards analyst for CSN Mid-Atlantic. Bradley Beal shot 40% from three-point land during the regular season. He's at 24% for this series versus Atlanta. Is it just him struggling? Is Atlanta, throwing multiple looks at him that are confusing him? What's the deal with Beal as far as his three-point production so far?
Yeah, he's getting some different looks, but also in Game 3, I thought that he didn't. Game 4, rather, I thought that he didn't commit to his shot. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Game 3. I thought it was Game 3 that he didn't really commit. And when I say commit, meaning he didn't take shots that he was confident in. He didn't take the ball to the basket the way that we've seen him do a lot during the season, which is a part of his game that I thought he improved upon, playing with the ball in his hand, because he enables some guys to play off of him. And when he has the ball in his hand, he's a real threat because he's the best shooter on the team. And so I thought that helped the Wizards be a lot more assertive offensively. And then you saw last night he really got going right from the beginning. And anytime you see Bradley Beal have a good start to his game, that's always a great sign for the Wizards, because as a two-guard and their best shooter, they really need him to at least be able to deliver his average, which is about 23 points a game.
Joined by Tony Massenburg from CSN. Why haven't they been able to shut down Schroeder at all?
Quite honestly, because he's beaten the first primary defender off the dribble, whether it be John Wall or Brandon Jennings. He's getting by these guys, and then when that happens, it forces the bigs, post players, to step up and try to contain. And when they do that, he's dropping off to Dwight Howard, or he's kicking out to Paul Millsap or Taurean Prince or one of those guys, and he's making those guys look pretty good because of his ability to penetrate. The same way that John does for the Wizards, he's doing a lot of that. And, guys, I don't know if you ever noticed, but a lot of times in basketball, a particular player, a guy like John Wall, who's super fast, a lot of times a guy like that, his weakness is playing against somebody else that's super fast. And Dennis Schroeder is a little quicker than a lot of guards in this league, and he finds his way into the paint, and that's created havoc.